Chapter 18 Pirate's Booty. Jafar's junk shop looked as it always did, like a dilapidated dump. Through the grimy window, Jay could see the shelves filled with broken radios, lamps, and chairs, as well as all manner of old appliances that no one used anymore. Jafar had filled his mind with dreams of endless riches, and Jay used to imagine that all the twisted and rusted metal and the knockoff jewelry that was sold would magically turn into piles of real gold and jewels. Of course, that never happened. Jay picked the locks on the front door, all 24 of them, and let himself inside, skulking around a little, afraid of what his father would say when he saw him. "Dad?" he whispered. "Dad, are you here?" he asked, a little more loudly. The air was musty and stale, and a fine layer of dust covered the gadgets and trinkets on the counters. There was no answer, until a rusty squawk from the back of the room echoed, "Dad? Dad? Dad?" Jay ran to the private sitting area behind the shop, pushing back the heavy velvet curtains to find Iago, Jafar's loyal parrot, looking terribly scrawny and out of sorts, with molted feathers covering the newspaper at the bottom of his cage. The bird practically snorted and put his wings on his hips, and when he saw Jay, as if to say, "About time, kid." "Where's Jafar?" Jay asked. "Gone," said Iago. "Gone, gone, 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 gone." If there's one thing that Jafar could be said to care about, it was his loyal sidekick. Jay didn't think his father would leave Iago to starve, so wherever he'd gone, he must have expected to return shortly. Jay changed the newspapers and refilled the bird's water and cracker supply. "You don't know where Dad went?" Jay asked. "Gone, gone, 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 gone," was all Iago said, stuffing his beak with crackers as fast as he could. Jay sighed. The cranky parrot had never been much help in the past, so of course he was no help now. He checked the rest of the shop for any small clue or indication as to where Jafar could have gone, but he didn't find anything helpful. Where had his dad disappeared to? The only place the villains ever talked about going was Aradon. They were obsessed with returning to their true homes. Growing up, Jay recalled his father telling him how Agrabah was the most beautiful kingdom, with the Sultan's palace and its golden domes high up north past the Great Wall. There was a knock on the door. "Are you open?" "Sure," said Jay. "Come in." He figured whoever it was might be able to tell him something about his father's disappearance. Big Murph, the young pirate who ran with Hook's crew, walked in a patch over one eye, a red bandana tied around his forehead, and a faded yellow vest over a dirty t-shirt and holey shorts. Like the rest of his kin, Big Murph only wore shower sandals, even when it snowed. "Hey, Jafar, glad to see you open up again. We're out fishing." The stout pirate stopped short when he saw Jay. "Oh, it's you." "Hey, Big Murph, what's up?" he asked. He liked Big Murph and the pirates. The big guy was usually friendly, and Captain Hook had asked Jay to join their crew a couple of times, telling him that they could use a talented thief among their ranks, but he had always passed. He wasn't a big fan of scurvy. "Jay," Big Murph said, looking fearful as a few more people wandered into the junk shop to browse. He looked around the shop. "You're really back?" he asked suspiciously. "Yeah, I guess so." Big Murph continued to look askance at Jay. "Is it true that Mal and Evie and Carlos are back from Ardon too?" Jay leaned on the counter and crossed his arms, still unsure of what this was all about. The pirate was sure acting cagey. "Yeah, we're here to visit our aged relatives. Do you know where my dad is, by the way?" It was still hard to believe his father wasn't at home, as Jay recalled that most days Jafar was too lazy to get up from his divan. Big Murph shook his head and couldn't meet his eyes. "No clue, huh?" said Jay, who was starting to feel the big man wasn't quite telling him the whole truth. "Nope," said Big Murph stubbornly. "Shop's been closed, and we've been out of fishing hooks. The pirates often fished from the piers." Jay rummaged through the nearest drawers and found a bag full of hooks. "Here, take them," he told Big Murph. "How much?" the pirate asked nervously, as Jafar often charged 10 times the amount the stuff was actually worth. "Just take them," said Jay. It wasn't like he could spend these coins in Aradon anyway. His dad would scream at him for giving something away for free, but Jafar wasn't here right now, was he? Seriously, Big Murph asked skeptically. Yeah, go ahead, get out of here, go fishing, catch a crocodile while you're at it, he said with a grin. A goblin brought up his items to the register and Jay rang him up. Big Murph was still standing there. Guess it's true then, what they say about you guys, the pirate said, almost defensively. Who's they and what do they say about us? Asked Jay, making change for the goblin. But Big Murph wasn't paying attention anymore as he was too excited about the bag of hooks. Then he checked the time on his pocket watch and jumped. Ooh, I'll be late. Gotta run, but maybe I'll see you later, he said meaningfully. Then he was gone before Jay could ask him any more questions. Was Big Murph talking about the anti-heroes meeting? He wasn't sure, and the bad feeling he had about attending this meeting only grew. Whatever it was, it had turned a happy-go-lucky little pirate into a shifty-eyed mercenary. Before he could think too much, Anthony Tremaine popped his head into the shop as well. The handsome grandson of Lady Tremaine curled his lip when he saw Jay. Oh, it's you, he said, sounding terrifically bored. He had the same haughty way of speaking as his grandmother. I heard a nasty rumor that you and the other turncoats were back on the Isle. Turncoats? Isn't that what you call someone who turns against everything they used to stand for? Asked Anthony. That little performance at the coronation was ever so good, wasn't it? What do you want, Anthony? Asked Jay, impatient to get rid of him. Jafar promised Mother a new shoe stretcher, Anthony said. I paid him, but he hasn't delivered. I hope he was back to make good on our deal. Mother's beside herself. Anastasia still refused to wear shoes in the right size, preferring to buy them smaller so she could try to expand them through rigorous and hopeless toe straining, as if the Prince Charming would still change his mind. Hang on, said Jay, looking through the many shelves and drawers, but he couldn't find what he needed. Sorry, looks like we've run out. Even if the embargo's lifted? Asked Anthony with a smirk. Come again? If you're back, it looks like Ardon's sending their trash to the Isle of the Lost again, doesn't it? Anthony laughed, pleased with his insult. Ha ha, said Jay. A joke, said Anthony with a shrug. What are you doing back, anyway? What's it to you? Asked Jay. Who wants to know? You know what? I'm too bored to pretend to care, said Anthony. Fine, said Jay, reaching out to shake Anthony's hand. Anthony gave him a strange look, but shook hands with Jay before leaving the shop. Now it was Jay's turn to smirk, since he had swiped Anthony's watch for old time's sake. It was so easy, just a flick of the wrist, flip of the latch, and it was his. Oh, he had missed this. Jay counted the seconds for the snobby boy to return. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anthony reappeared at the doorway he sure wasn't laughing now. Give it back, Jay, he said fiercely. Now. What are you talking about? Asked Jay, the very picture of innocence in his eyes as his eyes twinkled with amusement. My watch. You took it. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I didn't take it, I swear. Maybe you just misplaced it, said Jay with a shrug. You should be more careful with your things. It's a wristwatch. Where else would it be but on my wrist? Anthony glowered and stomped off, muttering darkly to himself about how Ordon should keep its trash for itself. Jay whistled as he closed up the shop again and waved goodbye to Yaga, promising to send a goblin to feed him crackers. Anthony was right. Jay had stolen his watch, but instead of keeping it, he had hidden it away in Anthony's jacket pocket. He knew Anthony would go crazy looking for it, and would be especially annoyed when he discovered Jay hadn't stolen it after all. Sometimes even reformed villains needed to have a little fun.